Well, hey, good morning, everyone. This is John Craig. Yes, I'm actually here. I get to be a guest host in my own show today. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But hey, I'm so glad to be with you all today. I know it's been really busy, and we got the sun coming up right there, so I got to make sure I'm not getting washed out on the picture. But we've got a great show ahead of us today, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited that you all can join us today on a really special day, Yom Kippur. That's it's September 28th, 2020. And the show is Let Us Reason Together. And of all the different days that this could have fallen on for Let Us Reason Together, it's on Yom Kippur. It is on the highest holy day of the year. And I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about how this really the implications of Yom Kippur in our very lives, and the implications that are in recognizing the second coming of Yeshua the Messiah as he is coming back. He's already purchased us. We're just waiting for us to be fully ransomed. And that is all about the second coming. I'm here. Wow, that sun is just bright all of a sudden. So I'm going to see if I can move around. Okay. Oh, I have a sun. Hey, there, I got a sunblock. Yeah. I named my sunblock. It's called Sandi. She is with me here in the room. She's just not in the screen. She's on the back side of the camera. But hey, we're just having some fun here. But besides it being Monday, September 28th, 2020, it is, as you know, Yom Kippur, the 10th day of the 7th month of Tishri in the year. Wait for it. 5781. Yes, we did move into a new year on the Hebrew calendar, and that's what's exciting, is that it gives us a new year, a reset as well, where we have take this day, a culmination of 10 days of awe, a culmination of 40 days since the month of Elul, or the 6th month, where we've been introspective and looking at our lives, looking at the things that are going on within our very hearts, allowing the Holy Spirit to come in and do some works to peel back the layers, to make our hearts new and to be refreshed, and to allow us to say, Father, give me baby skin on my heart once again. To take away that old wrinkly heart, the calloused heart, those things that build up walls, because in life we have an opportunity to embrace bitterness and resentment and unforgiveness and all of these different things. And yet this is the day we say, wait a minute, what am I doing? Stripping those things off and causing our hearts to be made new again. Got a verse for the day before I bring on my guests. And the verse of the day is this. Pardon me while I look off screen, because that's just where my computer is. But this shall be a permanent statute for you. This is from Leviticus 16, 29 through 31. Very appropriate for today. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, you shall humble your souls and not do any work, whether the native or the alien who sojourns among you. For it is on this day that atonement shall be made for you to cleanse you. You will be clean from all your sins before Yahweh. It is to be a Sabbath of solemn rest for you, that you may humble your souls. It is a permanent statute. So what a tremendous day that we have before us. And on this day in history, one of the biggest things that we remember, now on the calendar, it was actually on the Gregorian calendar, it was October 6, 1973. But when we look at the day itself, is that it is the day of the Yom Kippur War. And when Israel came to a standstill, that's on this high holy day of Yom Kippur that the Egyptians and the Syrian forces launched a surprise attack against Israel. And somehow, some way, hoping to catch Israel off guard, Israel prevailed against them. And there are many stories of miraculous, supernatural interventions of how Yahweh preserved Israel during the midst of that storm that afflicted them on that time. But so with that said, I want to bring in my guest hosts. And first off, I want to bring in Tucked Away. And I'm going to bring you into the, there you brought yourself into the screen. Oh, there we go. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, I'm just tucked away over here. That's all. I just tucked away.
You're tucked away, huh?
Tucked away over here.
Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my beautiful wife, Miss Sandi Craig. Come and join us. My sunblock.
I was going to say, I wondered what happened to the sun there.
Yeah.
It's moving, though. So
You are in the light.
I'm in the light. I have light shining in my heart.
It's about your heart. So
Let the light shine.
hey,
here, let me join you. Here we go. Let me join you. There
we go. The light is shining.
Yeah. We're
So,
to be a
Sandy,
light.
you need to go get you a flashlight and hold it
Oh,
on.
wait. I can do that. Hold on just a second. I can cover this one.
While she is covering and bringing light, she lights up
I'll
my
be right
light
back.
all the time.
Sing it. You
Light up my light. Oh, I don't know how it goes. All right. So, goodness. There we go.
Oh, we lost tucked away.
We lost tucked away.
Anyway, so you can go on.
There we go.
On.
Okay. So as we wait for tucked away to rejoin us.
Okay.
Oh, there he is.
Here
He's
you
back.
go. How do
He's
you like
back.
this? You see our new light switch?
Okay.
That's our new light switch.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Oh.
No. Now.
That.
So here, let me shine it on Sandy. There you go. So I'll shine it.
Oh, that's really cool. That works all the way across the internet.
Everybody make faces like Mark. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Now we're just having a little
my,
bit of fun here.
my.
Okay. Oh my
Okay.
God.
I'll turn the light off.
Hey, so
Cool.
today is Yom Kippur.
You already said that like
I
4
know,
times.
but I got my guests with me, my guest hosts.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
Is it all day today, or just part of the day, or how
Well,
does that actually work?
We got till sunset.
Oh,
So do you have plans for after sunset?
what do I have planned?
Yeah. Do you have plans for after sunset?
Eating.
Okay. All right. Good.
How do you guys usually break a fast? Like
Sometimes we don't have time. It stops the next day.
Oh,
We are
come
so
on. What?
busy. It's like,
No, I know, but I mean, in the past, there's 2 or 3 days that we fast, for different things and everything, and especially in our lifestyle, we do it as a whole. And if you're part of the community, then everybody's fasting. And back when we were a part of a huge congregation back in Oklahoma, we all got together or sent out invitations to people and said, we're going. And most of the time we went to like a pizza place and, changed around every time and just ordered a bunch of pizzas. And that's how we usually break fast. You guys do similar things or what?
honestly,
In the past, we used to have consistently every year we were doing 21 days. We'd do a Daniel fast in January, and so.
But he's talking specifically about Yom Kippur.
No, but I'm talking about when we've done like these big fasts, and generally everybody that would join us in our congregation, we would just have a meal together, and it's like everybody's looking forward to the meal.
I see. Like a potluck.
Yeah, or everybody just go out to the restaurant together, something like that. Yeah, just kind of as like, oh, relief, it's over. But on the other hand, I always felt like I don't want it to stop.
Yeah, and especially long fasts like that, you really got to come off of it really easy. You can't just like go to a pizza place after one day. You can go to a pizza place and
that's right. After one day,
I want to tell you something. I broke a fast one time. I had a 3-day fast. Only thing I had was water, and I broke it with 2 breakfast burritos. I'm telling you, that was the worst thing to do after having no food. I felt so bad. It was like all of the blood from my body was trying to figure out what to do in my gut. So I was lightheaded. I was totally fogged out. I could not focus or concentrate, and I hurt. I really hurt bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a fail moment.
It took
Right
me about
there.
2 hours to process through that. Don't do that.
Oh, that's good.
Lately, though, in answer to your question directly, because John
Yeah.
doesn't always answer questions directly. For Yom Kippur, as of late, we do it individually, especially
Okay.
Sukkot and things, because we're so, it's like, okay, this is over. We've got to work. And
You're right. Of course. Well, we used to be a part of the Chandler Sukkot, which you guys were too, but we were there as much sometimes as 10 days before the first of Sukkot, and always, whether it was 6 days before or whatever, we were always there for Yom Kippur, always there. And it was a total shutdown, but we still, all of us workers and everything, still were able to get together and commune and enjoy each other's company and stuff. So Yom Kippur was a different kind of thing than what most normal people knew it as. And then, of course, at the end of it, getting together and breaking the fast was always awesome. I mean,
Right.
just totally awesome. So
Right. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. You guys, that was putting up that camp. Seriously.
there's not even, you can't even describe it to a person so that they fathom what it takes to put up a camp for over 1,000 people. It just doesn't, you can't even explain it.
Yeah.
Be a part of it. But
yeah.
One of the greatest experiences of my life, and I did that for I lost track, probably 12 years.
Right.
We did that. We were there for ahead of time and afterwards.
Yeah.
For days afterwards, and
right.
And the whole
That's
thing.
what a commitment that was. I mean, just to be able to do that, and especially, if someone is employed, or if they're, I guess a lot of people maybe have retired, or they're self-employed and they're able to get away to do something like that. I can't imagine to be a way to do that
Sure.
for that amount of time.
Sure.
But hey, there's some other things that people do around the world. This is a great segue into this, because how do people break fast around the world when it comes to Yom Kippur? And so I've got some things very interesting to share with you all. And part of it is that in the Jewish community, that there's a worldwide is chicken soup, or kreplach, I think is how you say it. I probably messed it up, but it's meat-filled dumplings, and yet, so that's one of the things they because chicken is kind of along that lines, and chicken soup would be a good way to break a fast, because it's not going to totally tear up your stomach from having too much rich food. But here's some other things that people do. The Ashkenazim enjoy a dairy meal that often includes pickled and smoked fish, noodle kugel, and cheese blintzes. All right. Okay. And then here's Italian Jews feast on fried sugar-coated donuts to symbolize luck and hope for a well-rounded year. Now, that's not my words. That's their words. So that's what they. So fried sugar-coated donuts.
Yeah, you have the blessings to go out and eat donuts, no matter what the deal is. It's now you are blessed to eat donuts.
It's not. Yeah, right. Just think, those calories are blessed.
Lord bless my donut.
Yeah. There you go. So here's something else. How about Moroccan Jews? They drink a coffee topped with fluffy mixture of beaten egg yolks and sugar, while Iraqi Jews prefer hariri, a sweet non-dairy milk made from almonds, and North African Jews also love a hearty meat, bean, and vegetable soup. Now,
wow.
During this time that we're to be fasting and all of that, here we go talking about food, breaking fast.
Oh yeah.
But you got to plan for these things. But they plan. See, they got it down though. They plan before this day, so it's just all set, ready to go. Anyway, how about this? Greek and Turkish Jews delight in a light lemon-flavored chicken soup, preceded by a sweet drink of melon seeds. So that sounds like the chef, or the not the chef, but your waiter is really kind of a low term, but it's your at the restaurant where you got fine dining, tablecloths, cloth napkins, and they come up before you. Today on our menu, we have light lemon flavored chicken soup preceded by a drink of melon seeds. And we're going to finish off this meal today with fried sugar-coated donuts and a coffee topped with a fluffy mixture of beaten egg yolks and sugar.
Sure, bring it on. Come on, yeah. We'll take that.
So those are just some of the traditions and things that go on around the world on this day when it comes to the Jewish community. And
well, hey, in what you just did, I was just thinking, what if, for instance, like McDonald's was considered fine dining, and you go into a McDonald's and you don't go up to the counter and order your food. You go sit at a table and you have a waiter come out with a real nice suit on and everything. And so, waiter, what is the specialty for today? Well, we have quarter pounder with cheese, which is 2 buns. And he starts describing all the different things and how it's made and how the French fries are made and, Coke and all that kind of stuff. And so I could just imagine that'd be a great skit, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Today we have a specially prepared piece of meat that is 100% beef.
That's right.
With a layer of.
and can we interest you? Can we interest you in our special latte today?
There you go. Well, I think that really makes us think about some shower thoughts.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
these are fun.
These are kind of like shower thoughts, aren't they?
They're kind of, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe not. So I'm going to totally change the subject.
No, that's okay.
All right, because we need to get off food because it's making my stomach growl. So weird and quirky shower thoughts. If you don't know from the past, when I brought up shower thoughts, for those that are listening, that's when we separate ourselves from our cell phones and our devices and all these different things, and we're actually under that nice warm shower, and our mind is able to go and roam freely and think about different things and ponder the things of the universe. And so here's what happens when our minds run free. I got some things for you. And here's this. They should announce a sequel to Groundhog Day and then just re-release the original.
Oh,
all right.
It took a second to get it, but yeah, that's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, like the movie Groundhog Day?
Yeah, sure. Great movie.
Yeah, good show.
Good
would you want to relive a day like that, day after day after day?
Well, of course, nobody would want to. That's a nightmare and a half. But
some people say we have a Groundhog Day every day because it's the rat race.
Oh yeah, those that go to like office jobs and stuff like that, where you do the same thing.
Alarm goes off in the morning. You drag yourself out of bed. You get that cup of coffee. You look at the newspaper maybe momentarily. You get the kids ready for school. You rush out the door. You go put in your 9 to 5, and then you come home and you're like, maybe do some chores, sit down, watch a little TV, go to bed. Do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've never actually had a job like that. Mine has always been in construction, which is different every single day, or a job where I've been employed by myself, so I can switch things off. Or I was an operations manager for a very large retail store for a couple of them. And, that was different every day. Retail can be different quite often, you don't do the same thing. I just could never imagine be going to an office. I always wanted to do like a what is it, cubicle type work where you go in and talk to people on your phone and you're doing the computer thing and all that kind of stuff. I think it would be fun for a while, but then it would just be the same every single day. It would be just going in there, just talking to different people.
I think I would get bored. I think I would just get bored, and
you and I are not that kind of people.
No, I couldn't handle it. I just couldn't handle it. And I'll tell you this, I remember doing jobs when I was, in school and doing things where it was a similar type of thing day in and day out. Like a summer job that I had one time was working at a place that built dumpsters, the big metal dumpsters with the lids and stuff. You know what my job was? I had to cut the metal. So I'd go in every day and line up the metal and cut it. Line up the metal. And then there was one job that I had, and it was working at the Ashley Furniture Factory, Ashley Furniture up in Wisconsin. And I was working as a contract worker so I was working for Manpower, working at the factory. So I was making like $4.50 an hour. So $4.50 an hour, I'm sitting up there every day with some type of jig drilling holes for 8 hours. I don't know how factory workers do it. I have no idea. So one day, and they would put me on different lines. So each day might be a little bit different, but then for 8 hours, I was, drilling holes in the little place where you put the pegs and join the parts together. And I had one person that was actually opposite me. And we actually had an intellectual conversation to the point that the supervisor said, "You guys are talking too much. You're slowing things down." Give me something that's going to stimulate my intellect here. And so we actually had a debate, not really a debate, but really a good discussion about faith. And the guy was not a believer. And so he was really giving me a lot of the atheistic, agnostic type of arguments. So we had a lot of good aspects of apologetics. And
cool.
It wore me out. I was worn out that day. Okay, here's another weird and quirky shower thought is your stomach. Well, we're going to talk about food again, Mark. Your stomach thinks all potato is mashed.
Your stomach. Say it again. I'm sorry.
Your stomach thinks all potato is mashed.
Are mashed. Mashed potatoes. I got you. Right.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know who talked to a stomach and got that idea that they might need to be looked at.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about this one? So this is all for your youngins out there, all you youngins that are watching this show with these old guys. All right, we're not old, Mark. We're not old, but that's what they think. Honestly, they think that we're really old. Sure. Even when I was in my 40s, those that were like in our youth group and stuff thought I was really old. I don't understand. Okay, maybe I thought that when I was a youth. But here's this: if you're no longer covered by your parents' health insurance, your manufacturer's warranty is over.
Okay. Yeah. That's something
you got to go buy your own extended warranty now.
Yeah, that's something I think about in the shower all the time. Yeah, right.
I think it's been a long time since I've had a thought like that in the shower. But here's one last one for you, Mark. And this has to do with let me ask you, do you have a dog? Or a cat?
No.
No animals in your house?
We haven't had any pets in a long time.
Okay. But you've had pets, right?
Sure.
Okay. So we have in our household, we have one pet that was on purpose that we rescued, and we have 3 others that showed up. Okay. So there you go. That's our house. We have 2 dogs and 2 cats in our house. But here's the thought. I wonder what my dog would name me.
Profound revelation.
Yeah.
That's profound revelation. That's what that is.
Yeah. So think about that.
Hey, here's a question for you. Talking about pets,
Right?
can you name anybody at all from Genesis to Revelation that had a pet?
Anybody from Genesis to Revelation that had a pet? I just drew a blank.
Because there is none.
Yeah.
To me, that is solid understanding that it's telling us not to have pets.
Well, do you think
do
that
not have pets?
do you think Jacob maybe had a favorite sheep?
I have no idea, but it doesn't say it. So if it doesn't say it, we don't do it. Period. That's all there is to it.
Okay, but think about this. Then if that were true, then why are dogs a wonderful domestic companion?
I don't have an answer for that. I'm just saying the Bible doesn't tell us to have pets.
Yeah. Huh.
So,
yeah. Very interesting. Very
doesn't mean anything at all. Doesn't mean anything at all. Noah. Bob says Noah.
no. Yeah.
Noah had 2 of every kind of pet and 7
Right.
sons.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, the dogs would be under the unclean part, right? So there'd be 2 dogs in the house.
Sure.
Yeah. They probably hung out. I don't know.
Good one, Bob.
You think about this, and where did the cat sleep? Right, the cats, because our cats sleep on the bed with us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so like Noah and Mrs. Noah.
No, they sleep mostly by me, and I get like this much room because one's on this side, one's on this side. I'm like, I can't move all night.
So Noah and Mrs. Noah, did they have a cat problem? Because they would have had 2 cats, a male and a female.
Yeah. They would have been snuggling up with the lions and tigers
and bears.
Yeah, no, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Okay. that's in the book Jasher too.
It is. Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Let's see.
All right.
If you guys, if I had to slip away, we have a congregational emergency right now, and I'm dealing with it. So,
okay.
So if I slip away, I'm making some phone calls and taking care of something. So I'm so sorry about that. So,
well, if you slip away, then we'll change your name to Slipped Away, and it'll go right along with Tucked Away.
All right.
I'm tucked away and you're slipped away, and
that works.
John's just away. John's just away.
There's a song. It's called "Slip Sliding Away."
I don't know.
Slip sliding away.
Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah, slip sliding away. All right.
It's
been a long time since I heard it. So
I've never heard it. Never.
I know you're a different generation, Sandy.
I am. I'm X, and you are the end of the baby boomers, and I'm the beginning of Generation X. So we are 2 totally different generations. That's all I can say.
So you know how it goes around.
Mark are in the same. You, Mark, are in the same generation.
And yet we get along so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
At
least, Mark, we're not millennials, right?
Oh, thank God for that. Thank God for that. There are many times when new technology comes out and I really am interested and I go try to find out about it and stuff, and I'm saying, man, was I born at the wrong time? I would have loved to have been born, in time where I'm like 20, 25 years old right now. And then I think, nope, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh my goodness. Well, where are we at in the program?
I don't know if you've done anything. I haven't been here.
We talked about all sorts of different things, Sandy. You totally missed out on. And
did you talk about the news?
We haven't talked about the news
because you
yet.
know your time for news. You know I'm a stickler on time. You only got 30 minutes because I cracked the whip. I cracked the whip.
Hey, can I just go ahead and force the matter?
Sure.
Yes. All right. So I'm telling you, you realize that there's so many different things going on in the news right now that there's so much to pick from. And when you look at a lot of it, hey, don't touch that food. Okay. So when you look at a lot of different, we had a cat kind of sneaking over to eat the other cat's food. And when he does that, then we have extra stuff on the floor.
Good news story. Good news story. I like that.
Moving right along. So with this news story, I'm telling you, there's so many different things that are happening. I'm just going to read you some of the headlines that are going on, and then we're going to go from there. But listen to this. We've got Judge Amy Coney Barrett that's been set up to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That was announced on Saturday. So we've got that's going on. We have things going on like arrests for people that are not wearing masks. We have a lady that was over in, I forget what state, was it North Carolina? Oh, she was in one state. She did not wear a mask while she was maintaining the physical distancing. I hate the word social distancing, but physically distant from everybody else. And a police officer came over, told her to put on a mask, and he was tased by the police officer. We have another gentleman that was at a school meeting in another state everybody was physically distanced apart. And they said that to be at the meeting, you had to wear a mask. He said, I'm not going to wear a mask. So they brought in police officers and they arrested him. And we have a complete lockdown down in New Zealand and in Australia for this COVID-19 thing, where I think there's less than 800 people that have actually died in Australia, and yet they've locked down Victoria, specifically Melbourne. They're arresting people for saying, they're arguing against or even saying anything against COVID. They're actually arresting people in England for that. That's just on the COVID side about that. We've got stuff going on with Black Lives Matters, where Kamala Harris calls BLM street protests, which become riots every night, a fight and essential. Yes, Kamala Harris says it's essential that they go out there and riot and burn down our streets and our cities and our stores and businesses and all that type of thing, and where they're killing and murdering people. We have a car plowing through Trump supporters at a BLM protest in California. We've got Joe Biden, who is reading from teleprompters because he does not have any original words for himself. He is suffering from advanced Alzheimer's and dementia. And so he's having to read teleprompters. And one teleprompter that he read incorrectly said, "I got to the Senate 180 years ago." He's also said that we've had over 200 million people die of COVID. So that's over half the population of the United States. He was talking about the population in America that may have died from COVID. We have, how about this? 2 are charged from handling of virus outbreak at veterans home. We've got all sorts of different things. And what is this all about? We actually have such an insurrection going on in the streets that let me go back to where my notes went. And I was looking at this. This is a really great article that's over at Zero Hedge that I wanted to bring up, and it's talking about cynical theories, and it says critical theories marked out. And I want to kind of address this thing because it goes a little bit with what Sandy talked about last week in terms of the cancel culture. And for those that don't know what cancel culture is basically is that if you have a differing opinion of what's going on, then you are not allowed to voice that opinion. If you do voice that opinion, then what cancel culture says is that your job is in jeopardy, that you don't have a valid voice to speak in this society. They will silence you. They will remove you from your job, your position. And a lot of people are losing jobs simply because they voice an opinion that is against the critical culture that's going on today. And so what it's causing is not only the silencing of people and the breakdown of communication, and people can't voice their opinions on Facebook or other type of social media. They can't even voice their opinions even on YouTube, because there's a censoring and silencing on YouTube, on Facebook, on all these different platforms. Spotify, Joe Rogan just moved over to Spotify from, I think it was from Amazon platform, and what he, and now, and they said, you got free reign to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And what did they do? Immediately, now that his contract is over there and he's moved to that place, now there's a war within Spotify to silence him. And where they're saying, these programs are acceptable, but these we're not going to allow you to broadcast. So where is this coming from? And why do we have this new set of moral attitudes and political commitments that actually are weakening? This is what this article talks about. They are weakening our norms of open debate and toleration of differences in favor of ideological conformity. So let me just kind of boil that down. Why are we being silenced to where those things that are norms, those things that are normal in society, we're not allowed to talk about those things anymore? Why is there why don't we have open debate? If you actually want to try to debate somebody that's an Antifa or a BLM, what do? They shout you down. They want to silence your voice. They want to make their voices louder. So if you're actually having a debate with somebody or actually having a discussion and they find out about it and they do a quick mob gathering, and they will just simply silence you out and begin to threaten your very life, just simply because you're not in alignment with what what they are saying and what their agenda is. These are, and it's all intermixed with this thing called intersectionality. And this is something that I think the Southern Baptists have succumbed to recently. Intersectionality is when you bring in the LBGT, race, education levels, all of these different ways that we divide ourselves in our society. And it's not necessarily that we divide ourselves. It's just they have made divisions specifically saying, well, you're in this category and you're in this category and this in your category. And intersexuality brings all these things together and say, if you have any opposing opinion to our point of view and not mold your thinking and use the right language to this, then you are going to be canceled. And so what religion has done and denominations are doing is they're making that part of their doctrines to become more relative to their culture, when in fact it's a watering down of their faith. So this whole thing of cancel culture, where it's a catch-all when people in power face consequences for their actions or receive any type of criticism. In fact, there was a coach, it was an NFL coach, I believe, this last week that said he wasn't going to wear a mask. And so the owners censored him because he said basically that the masks are useless. I saw another article this week that talks about how the masks have been made into a talisman where it seems to have magical powers that will protect you from this Chinese virus, the Wuhan virus, the COVID-19, as if it has some way to protect you, when in reality, it has no protection. It's just a cloth over the face that you breathe through. If it doesn't protect us from the smoke, from the fires out on the West Coast, and they say it does no good, then how is it supposed to protect us from the micro size, much smaller size of this allegedly virus that now the CDC has come out and said, well, for 4 months, we had a paper that said that you needed the mask because of the airborne qualities of CV-19. And they said, well, that was just a draft that really should have never been there. It has no airborne threat. So, you know, we're living in this world where we have all of these dichotomies going on. It says one thing, but reality is this. We're told one fact, what is alleged fact, but in reality, the evidence that's out there proves that that's wrong. So where do we go with this, and how do we deal with this in our culture? How do we face these issues, pronounce the truth without getting canceled? And so these are the questions that I have, and these are the things that I wanted to bring up as a topic, because we have become very cynical as a people and say, will the truth ever be made known? I was listening to one doctor that was talking about he went to Washington, D.C. under the Reagan administration and to be part of a study, and he said that they had a meeting and they had a discussion about a particular subject, which the subject was released to the press. And then when he saw it on the news the next day, they actually said on the news, pronouncing as fact, the exact opposite of what was actually decided upon in that meeting. When he brought that up to the people and said, what's going on? That's not what we talked about. It's the exact opposite of what we actually released. And they said, oh, you're new here. That's how news is generated here in Washington. So think about all of the different things. If you think about what we see and we hear on the news about one thing or another, think that that it is actually the exact opposite. Who do we trust? What can we trust? And how do we discern the difference of those things? And we think about this on the Day of Atonement, because really this is the discernment between right and wrong. This is the discernment of the time where we're actually saying, Father, discern within my heart that which is evil and that which is good, that I might know the true nature of my heart, so that I might love what you love and hate what you hate. These are just some of the things I wanted to bring up. There's so much going on. So it's a collage of different articles, but it really boils down to this very thing that we need discernment for. I know there's people that have broken fellowship with us in the Messianic radio community simply because we said some things about Mass that was not agreed upon. And we have people biting on different things and being offended easily. And yet this is the time that we need to say, no, we need to not allow offense to rise up, but truly embrace what truth is. So I'm going to throw it out there. There we go. Bring you back in, Mark, and bring Sandi back in. Tell me where you're coming from. What do you think about these things? And these are issues that we're facing today in our culture.
Well, let's see. There's all kinds of things. We have a new culture and it's interesting that you brought that word up, because I hadn't actually even thought about the word culture, but yeah, it's all, cultures in our society seem to, I feel like I'm wearing a diaper on my head or something, one of the things I was thinking about yesterday is that, and this is a shower thought for you, by the way.
Oh, good.
God did not make my ears to hold my mask. Seriously, think about it. I mean, is that the reason that we have ears, is to hold our mask? Because if it is, then God knew, thank God for the COVID then. that we actually have ears that we can hold our mask. And what if we didn't? What if it was just two holes in the side of our heads and we needed to wear this mask? Then hey, it'd be all messed up. But no, you're talking culture. That's an interesting word, because we live by our cultures. We live in our cultures, and it's interesting that it's changing all the time. We're constantly being challenged to believe different than we've been believing our entire lives. That's what I'm processing through a lot of these different things. And every time I hear something, we act upon the culture that we live in simply because that's who we are. That's the way we were raised. That's what we've decided and chosen to do. And now when our society and the world around us bring a whole different culture in, and then take it to the next level. How many times have you known cultures to be forced upon you? See, that's really what's happening. It's a new culture that we're being almost forced in a lot of different ways. You were talking about these different instances and people that, being arrested or being confronted. For the very first time, since all of this has started, I went to Walmart yesterday, and I went in, got my cart. While I was getting my cart, you know how you walk into a Walmart and you got that big area where you get your cart and people are coming. Right. You got one going in and one going out, and now they have the fence there in between the two. And they have all the carts, and you're getting your carts. The lady in front of me was having trouble getting her cart unhooked, and I was helping her and everything. And I finally got all that worked out, got my cart, and I kept hearing, and now it's bunching up. There's like 10 people all bunched up right there. And I keep hearing behind me, sir. Finally, I turn around and look, and there's a Walmart guy standing behind me, and he goes, "Sir, do you have a mask?" And I reach down because I always carry one, and I reach down to my pocket and feel, and oh yeah, I have a mask. And he says, "We would appreciate it if you'd put it on, sir." And I said, and I looked at him and said, "I'll bet you would." And turned around, took my cart, and went on into the store.
Good for you, Mark.
And it was a simple fact that it's still, I would say, and this is just general looking as you're going around the store, it's still at least a fourth of the people in Walmart don't wear masks, and at least I'd say probably the same amount, a fourth of the Walmart employees, they have masks on, but they're like this.
Yeah.
The Walmart employees. And so it's kind of like, you don't even have an answer for it. But culture is a good word, brother. Culture is a good word, because that's actually what we're looking at. And there's going to be, after all this kind of blows over and it kind of, I'm not even going to say the word normal, but after it all blows over, you're still going to have a tremendous amount of people out there that are going to hang on to it. Like the lady I saw yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday morning. I'm out. This is what the story I was just talking about. And I see a lady at a gas pump. Her car is empty. There's nobody there with her, and she's all dressed up for church, you can tell. And she's standing at a gas pump with her mask on.
Yeah.
And I it's like, That's not even a shower thought. That is come on, people. You can't even process what's going on, whether you believe it or not. And I'm not against you if you're adhering to all the COVID rules and and everything's good with you. It's okay. You have the right to do that. But to stand at a gas pump where there's nobody 50 feet anywhere around you at a gas pump by yourself, wearing a mask, driving down the road, there's nobody else in your car, and you got a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
I've said it before. People are stupid. They don't process things.
Yes.
They're not putting it all together. You have the right to believe the way you want to believe. You do. It's okay.
Right.
But put 9 and 47 together. It's not as hard as even 2 plus 2. So, people are stupid, man.
Well, it's really true. I saw my neighbor across the street walking her dog by herself in a neighborhood. There's not a lot of people on the sidewalks, and she was walking her dog with her mask on.
Uh-huh.
I saw somebody again driving down the street. She's the only one in the car. She's got her mask on in her car. And we've told you before, John and I will not wear masks anywhere.
Yeah.
And in general, it's been, we've not been kicked out. There's been a couple places.
There's been a couple places. I mean, I had a confrontation. The guy looked like he wanted to chest butt me over at Office Max. No, not Office Depot. Office Depot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and he said, I'm not going to help you. I said, I need to find this real quick and I'll be out of here. He said, I'm not going to help you unless you put a mask on. So you need to go. I'm going to call the cops. And, but nevertheless, but it's culture, but it's also cult-like behavior where they're shaming that if you don't conform and you don't do what they think you should do.
That's really good. It's a cult, like a cult.
It is a cult, and therefore they have the people out there that truly believe these things. They really, really do, to the point that they will pull a Karen on you, and
that nobody knows.
And what a Karen is when they make a public display of shaming for anybody that is not conforming to what they wish.
The Charlotte Ladder.
Yes. Yeah. Sandy, you were going to say something.
Well, I forgot what I was going to say. It fit the moment. But I will say we cannot just go quietly in the night.
To quote from a certain movie.
Yes.
Independence
Day. We have to see. I've been given several movie quotes the last several shows. Mark should appreciate that. We have got to buck the system, and there may be consequences, just like that congregation that was worshiping outdoors, and they continued to worship as the police were arresting them. They even placed their hands behind their backs, but they didn't say, they didn't shrink back at the Nazi socialist control system that's come down. They said, no, we're not going to. And we need to be at the point where we're ready to risk some things in our own life, so that we can stand up for what's right constitutionally in our own lives, et cetera, et cetera. It's just like, excuse me. I was in Walmart this last weekend Friday. Was gathering some things for Sukkot, and some people that used to be in our congregation. It's been several years. I think they left when we moved our services to Sunday. So it's been many years, but anyway,
Shabbat.
From Saturday. Sorry, misspoke.
Sunday to Shabbat.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's been a long time, but there was this person coming from me, and I saw a mask. I didn't recognize who it was. I was like, "Oh, Father," she said something. I said, "I need to know who she is. Who is she? Who is she? Who is she?"
You just see their eyes,
because all I could see were the eyes, and then boom, the name popped in my head, and I talked to them for a while, and they wanted me to pray with them, and I ministered to them some, and they were like, well, we hate these masks. And I said, why are you wearing them? I said, there's no law. And I said, in fact, we've talked to the manager at this particular Walmart, and she said, you can come in here without them. She said, it's posted but you can come in without them. They immediately took their masks off. And I says, don't just give in. You need to research what you're listening.
Yeah, that's right.
But they
don't be a sheep on the other side.
Yeah,
You're doing it because they say to. Now, don't wear it because they say to.
Yeah.
You know, do it because
you did the work.
Sandy, but I couldn't help it. I just like, go ahead.
Yeah.
That's my whole point. You're right. And we need to reinforce that. Guys, stop listening. What hurts my heart more than anything is people who call themselves believers are so ill-informed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you call yourself a person of faith. You call yourself a believer, yet you're walking around in fear and you believe the lie. That means your congregation is the CNN and MSNBC, ABC, CBS.
Yeah.
That's your congregation.
Yeah.
You sit in front of them and listen to their preaching, and you acquiesce to their preaching. When the pulpit, when the preacher says live life like this, you won't do it, but you'll listen and follow through with the preachers on the tube.
And understanding that what they're telling you is, in fact, the opposite of what the truth is.
Which has been proven. As you said earlier, the news people said, we will not. This is basically, they says, this is the way it works around here. So no matter what the truth is, we're going to tell the opposite if it justifies our cause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that is the cult mentality. It's a big cult. It is to control cultures and societies. I mean, we're talking that this is probably the biggest influence of truly cult mentality and cult influence upon populations, not just in the United States, but in nations around the world. And we see authoritarianism being used by sheeple police that are just like lemons, following orders, not allowing people to have their constitutional rights, which part of one of the headlines is going back from Bill Barr. Let me pull that one up. This was from Bill Barr a week or so ago. He
RG?
said AG William Barr, coronavirus lockdowns greatest intrusion on civil liberties since slavery.
Then why is he allowing it to happen?
Well, there's stuff going on. But that's where we have to recognize this is how bad it is. But in other countries, they are throwing people in jail.
Well, they're throwing in people in jail in this country.
They're disappearing people. They're literally taking people. And like Ohio, Joe's over there in Ohio, where if you have signs of COVID or possible signs.
Which, by the way, before you say that, they've made almost every symptom you could have, whether it's allergies. I was joking. I said, you're pregnant. Oh, it must be COVID. That's about how ridiculous it is. Okay.
And they're gathering people up and putting them in FEMA camps to separate them, to sequester them, to quarantine them. And what is that? What is that about? They're talking about in California, taking children out of people's homes because someone might have COVID in that home. So you got to take the children out and sequester them, hold them back, and keep them away because, and children have the best success rate in terms of fighting this thing. So,
but it's not fighting a thing. When we say fighting this thing, we act like it's something big. It is less. It affects people less than the flu. Look at the statistics on the flu. Look at the statistics on so many other things that we come down with, and yet we are making it. The society has made it. It's a control thing. But
cult.
Guys, it is nothing. It is like nothing.
It's a cult.
And in fact, I heard something.
The WHO cult
last week that said, "Well, you know what? Maybe we should continue this because it will help the spread of the flu."
Yeah. I'm 66 years old. I'm acclimated into the United States culture lifestyle. Why? I've never had to question anything before. Why should I question anything now? You see, it literally is a mindset amongst people, period. And once again, it comes down to, I would never walk up to a lady in her Sunday best, pumping gas with a mask on. I would never walk up to her, start a conversation with, "Hey, lady, you're stupid. you know, I wouldn't do it, but I have the right to think that way, as the same as she has the right to wear the mask while standing 50 feet away from everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. She's going to walk into church in a few minutes and everybody's going to have their mask on. I get it. You know, I don't, I wouldn't do it. But once again, we have to balance our conversation out with the fact they have the right to believe what they want to believe. They
Absolutely.
do. And we can't go against those rights. Sandy, you were right in the lady you were talking to. You know, she asked the question, or she said a statement against the mask and stuff. You have the right to talk to her about that. Now, to walk up to her and say, lady, hey, remember me? Hi, I'm Sandy. Hey, you're stupid. You're wearing a mask. Oh, you know, we shouldn't do that. You know, but none of us would, but there are people that would. You know, people have the rights to believe what they want to believe. By the way, my topic for Sukkot is why we believe what we believe / value. So why do we value the things that we value in our life? And I mean, that's my thought process all the time. So this is just another one of those instances.
Right. You know, it just makes me think, and not to bring up another subject, but think about how the great delusion for people that love not the truth can easily entrap and enslave a people. And if this can so easily entrap even many believers, and not to stand up for the rights, or to believe that this talisman across their face is going to protect them, then the rest of the world has they're going to be sunk. They're going to be totally encaptured by this thing. And, you know, is this part of the great delusion? I don't know. The way it works is it sure looks like a tremendous delusion has been placed upon the population of the world to think that these type of things are actually going to help save lives. And when the facts are and the evidence proves otherwise.
You know, I think the thought just came to my mind. It's going to be interesting. And, you know, there are a lot of Sukkots happening around the United States. And this will be the first time. It's going to be real interesting. You know, I mean, there's a couple in Oklahoma, maybe even 3, that have an average of 1,000 people at that Sukkot. I would be real interested in seeing the dynamic of what it's going to be like with people that are wearing masks and not wearing masks. How many of those wearing masks are going to come down against people that are not wearing masks? You know, it's like it's so funny. It's the ones that are conforming that seem to be so heavy against those that are not conforming, where those that are not conforming to something, it's just our way of life. You know, I used to say that about like the 2 house doctrine. You know, it's those of us that adhere and believe in the 2 house doctrine. It's just our way of life. As a matter of fact, we never talk about it. It's just a part of how we believe certain scriptures. But those that don't believe in the 2 house doctrine are vehemently against it. They want to come at you and challenge you and debate you over, you know, that it's a stinking doctrine in the first place. If you don't believe in that doctrine and how that works out, that's fine. It's good. It's good for you. You know, the way I believe it's good for me doesn't mean we have to get passionate and vehement against it and that kind of thing. It's the same thing that's going on with all of this. It's like the guy at Walmart what is it? It's like end of September. This has been going on since February and May, and that's the first time I've ever had anybody confront me on that in almost a super negative way. I don't know the words for it, but you see what I'm saying? It's so isn't it interesting how those that stand up for a cause are usually the most passive about it, and those that don't want that cause are the ones that are so vehemently against it.
Right.
And
Right.
so isn't that an interesting dynamic?
Yeah.
But it shows the spirit behind it.
Sure does, doesn't it? It's like we're so confident. We're so like, hey, that's the way it is. You know why? Because we searched it out and we know. It's not like it's something that we just do because somebody tells us. That's where you're not confident, is because you're going off of somebody else's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
When we search it out for ourselves, it's like being Messianic. The difference between I've always said the difference between a Messianic believer and a Christian believer is because a Christian believer is just a Christian because they just accepted that that's the way it's supposed to be. Us who are living a Messianic lifestyle, the reason we are is because we searched it out and we made that decision. It wasn't we just woke up one day and said, hey, you know what? I like that Messianic dancing and stuff that they do. I'm going to be Messianic today. And it's from now on, I'll be Messianic. I'm not going to be a Christian anymore. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference is that those that search out what they believe and why they believe it, those are the ones. Now I'm preaching my sermon. Those are the ones that are confident in what in their life. You can still be passionate about it, but you don't have to be debatable and negative about it. Or those that just accept whatever it is they accept, those are the ones that are like, well, no, you shouldn't be doing this. Sorry.
Well, I agree with you, Mark, and I'm reminded over in the book of Acts where it talks about the Bereans. And what did they do? When Paul brought them the word, the Bereans went and searched the scriptures to see if it was true. And so, in what I've always thought is that's always been our responsibility ever since I've been a believer from the very beginning. It was like, okay, the preacher's going to say one thing from the pulpit, but it's my responsibility. I have an individual responsibility to seek out truth. That's my relationship with the one who is the way, the truth, and the life.
But it doesn't just go with what comes from your congregational leaders, whether it's a church or a congregation or whatever you hear, you should be searching out the truth. And that goes back to what I said about the gods of this world and the pulpit of the media that so many obviously that call themselves people of faith sit at. They sit and listen more intently to that pulpit than they do any other.
Yeah. And so there's, and I don't know why people would ever, I think even about our founding fathers, they actually, when you look at their writings, it's like doctorate level writings, and they didn't, their education that came from 12 years of school. That came from homeschooling. They have this ability to write an amazing treatises on what a republic is about, and federalism and freedom and liberty and all of these different things. And you go, wow, that's just tremendous thinking and philosophy that they actually have. And at what point in time, I think about how we have dumbed down ourselves to where we're not willing to stop and read something, but we just have to let somebody else tell us. And then we take that as the gospel truth. And at some point in time, we have to realize that type of education system is really the source of the destruction of our culture, the destruction of our society. It brings us into cult mentality where we only have those with the talking heads that will tell us what our reality is about. And when our true reality is saying the the complete opposite is true. And our values need to be a value of God's given me a brain, therefore use it. Right?
That's right. Hey, I have to say, Sandi is taking the fact that we haven't done the Torah portion yet very well. I just want to bring that out. I think she's handling it quite well.
Do you know what I've been doing? I've been texting him, okay, time's up for Torah portion. We're skipping that. And I just text him, time's up for Mark's portion. We're just doing a news show today. So I've actually been texting him the whole time saying, okay, you missed that one. That's over. You missed that one.
Missed that deadline.
She had another another source to work on there. She had another output that she could work with, so she didn't use, never mind.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I was taking, I had a smile on my face. I was just,
you were handling it quite well. Hey, this has been a great discussion. I really appreciate it. It's been a while since we've done any COVID discussions, to tell you the truth. And so I want to let everybody know by tomorrow, this will be up on the website. You can watch the individual segment of this, which is really good. But I have to tell you, last night you guys had a Yom Kippur service.
Yes.
And it went well. I heard on War Room.
Yes, it did.
Okay, very good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say this is that, the big theme, because it's really affected everybody's lives, is the COVID thing. I mean, it's completely affected every aspect of our lives. And that's why it's such a big topic. But in reality, it's not so much as CV-19 or the Chinese virus, Wuhan virus, however you want to name it or call it. But really, the underlying issue is who are we going to believe? What is truth?
Whose report do we believe?
And how we're going to respond to that. Because in the midst of all that, you can say, well, what about this BLM stuff and the Antifa and the rioting in the streets and the fires on the West Coast and the socialism, Marxism that's going on, and a person dealing with Alzheimer is the top running candidate for the Democratic Party. They're supposed to have even a debate about this. It's these things that affect our culture, and it's all basically the same thing. Are we going to live in a delusion? Are we going to be a people that are going to respond to truth, to the living word? And how are we going to live according to the direction of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit in our lives? This is what it really boils down to. And are we willing to make sacrifices even to live out the truth? I feel like wearing a mask is and when I have to go into a store and put on a mask, which I refuse to do. If I do that, I'm living a lie. How can I live a lifestyle of a lie when my life is founded on truth?
Amen.
And so that's really the bottom line. Are we going to truly live truth in our life? And how does that look?
Amen.
So how did your meeting last night, how did that go with Yom Kippur and all of this? Is it any different with your service as far as
we don't change anything up because of what's going outside? There are no masks required. Nobody's actually ever, we said, if you want to wear one, you can, but nobody has ever come into our congregation with a mask on. And we do things just as we normally do. Every week we get up and lay hands on one, and pray for people. We gather around them and pray. We see God move and do his miracle power in the midst of services. We hug and we're just together. We haven't changed anything, and we're not going to.
And people were so happy. We took 2 or 3 weekends where we didn't gather. We just did a YouTube thing. But
at the very beginning,
at the very beginning. And then we said, this is ridiculous. This is really dumb because, when no one really knew what was going on. And there were all these rules and the lockdowns and all that sort of stuff. And then we said, this is ridiculous.
And we started meeting again.
And we said, and when people heard that, I gave a caveat. You can wear a mask, don't wear a mask, whatever you want, whatever you feel.
Good. At least you let them decide for themselves and don't ostracize them, because they believe differently. That's good.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We had just a teaching from Rabbi Daryl last night online, Yom Kippur teaching. He's always just amazingly good, really, really good at what, Daryl is now teaching at a Christian church. And so they're letting him use their backdrop, their service, their church for what he's doing. He had a couple of pastors from different churches there last night that heard his message and stuff, and it went all really well.
Nice.
I was going to kind of compare, though. I thought was interesting what you guys are just talking about, your Yom Kippur service. We've been catching on YouTube the live services from a Reform and another. It might be liberal, but Orthodox. Well, not Orthodox, but Jewish, liberal or conservative broadcasts that they're doing from New York City. And it's really interesting because, New York City is still on lockdown. I mean, they're still heavy. It's one of the biggest, cases of a lot of different COVID reports and stuff. But it's real interesting because there's this massive Jewish synagogue with all this ornate, both of these different ones we've been watching, with all these ornate woodworkings and everything on it. And the different people that are holding the service are several feet apart, and for the most part, they're not wearing masks and they're, doing their service. And it's a great Yom Kippur service. We also watched the Rosh Hashanah service that they did, and we watched one last night after Daryl was over. We kind of went in there to see. I love the liturgy, I love the music, all of that kind of stuff from those strictly Jewish services, especially on Moedim services and stuff. But it was so interesting because they didn't have any people in this massive synagogue. Nobody was in the pews. It was all on Zoom screens, and every once in a while they would switch over from the camera. It wouldn't be on the different rabbis that were teaching or doing liturgy or singing or whatever. They'd switch over to the people that are all dressed up in their homes and, going along with the service and all this kind of stuff, which was an interesting dynamic for what they're doing. But it was funny when they would switch over to the organ player, who was at least 10, 15 feet from everybody else, and he was wearing a mask. But he'd be out there, playing organ and stuff. And it was interesting. But the interesting difference in dynamic of what, like you're talking about, and, what we did with Daryl last night and all that. And then you go to these services, which are very well organized. They probably have been practicing the service for 3 months to get ready for it, and they have a professional TV crew, with the cameras and all this kind of stuff and everything. So interesting to me. I like that kind of stuff. I like to see the differences in the dynamics and what they do in their services.
Sure.
Love that liturgy and music and everything, though.
Very cool. All right. Well, I think we've come to the conclusion of this edition of Let Us Reason Together.
It's been good to have the team together.
Yeah, it has been. And I'm glad to be part of Monday's Let Us Reason Together.
It is your show.
I appreciate y'all letting me to come back today.
we let you come back. Well,
yeah.
What would you have said when before the show we all got on StreamYard here and Sandy and I said, "Well, John, no, you can't be on today. We're used to doing this show without you, and you can't do this today."
I just had to throw a curveball.
Well,
you just said no.
Do it.
I would turn my back on you.
You say, no, it's my show. You guys leave. I'm going to do the show myself. That's the way I would have responded. Hey, it's my show. You guys are out of here.
Right. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate everybody joining us here on this edition of Let Us Reason Together.
We're not going to see you for a couple weeks because we're going to be at Sukkot.
That's right. So we pray that you all have a blessed Sukkot as well, and a wonderful rest of the week. And stay tuned to the different things that are going here on the Lamb Radio Network, the Lamb Video Network, the Lamb whatever we're calling
network.
The Lamb Network. There we go. I'm going to get it out. But stay tuned because we've got lots of good programming going on. And Mark, we sure appreciate you letting us be part of that as well. So I want to say thank you to Mark and Sandy for being my co-host today and allowing me to co-host with you. and so. But
you're welcome back anytime, John. By the way, I think I can speak for Slipped Away and I that you are welcome on the show anytime you'd like. Open invitation. We'd love to have you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I forgot about Slipped Away and Tucked Away.
Yeah. So
Mark, we can make a skit.
Okay.
All right. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Something's brewing.
I'm thinking.
Something's brewing. Okay.
We'll talk about it after.
All right. Hey, y'all have a blessed week. Until next time, this is John Craig, and shalom.
Ta-ta.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.